Hello, everybody. Today we have an incredible conversation to have with Jay and Dom, the directors of Quantum Light Wellness Center in Hillsborough, New Jersey. They are officially and currently the biggest light system center in the world with 52 panels under one roof, including their incredible pyramid, as you can see in the middle of their room, that plays a very big role in the energy being created in the room. They're also experts when it comes to biowell testing, and they're going to be sharing what they've actually found in terms of results and outcomes from their biowell tests when it comes to the light system technology, along with testimonials of what people have been sharing that are coming to their center day in and day out. They're going to be talking to us about their configuration, how they came down to it using the architect created by Robert Edward Grant himself, and really using the inspiration of geometry to create the configuration, the design that they've created. Right next to me is also a light system cube, which I look forward to a whole bunch of people getting all around the world very soon. And Jay and Dom, I love seeing the pyramid behind you. It's beautiful. Your center is beautiful. So I really just want to dive right in before getting into all the testing and the outcomes and the results and so on and so forth. Maybe you guys can give us just a brief background. I know you guys well. I've met you guys before, but just a brief background and a summary of who you guys are and how you landed at even doing this in the first place when it all started.
Oh my gosh.
Short.
It's been the journey, to say the
It
least.
has
It
been.
has not been a straight and fast road by any means. It's been quite curvy and a lot of unexpected twists and turns along the way. But my personally, my background started in IT, corporate IT for many years. And on the side, I was doing like health and wellness, kind of like a hobby slash part-time job.
Yep.
I really was dreading the corporate, being enslaved to the corporate IT stuff, and wound up um, going to school, right, to become a master health and life coach and learning about energy wellness and all of this stuff around balancing all four aspects of your being: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. Somewhere around 2020, you showed up on my YouTube channel. You only had maybe a couple of hundred subscribers, and I started watching you. And from there, of course, we fell into learning more about these kinds of holistic technologies, and was really interested in opening up a center, and became one of the first actually to be involved with unified healing. And we wound up acquiring the center um, from the prior owner. The prior owner, we partnered with her for a while, and then she went back into retirement, and then we acquired the center
Gotcha.
and at Quantum. And Jay,
Yep.
your background.
Yeah, it's been non-linear for me. I have a background in mathematics and management science. With that, I did IT work as well at a financial services firm. But throughout that time, I've always been connected with music as music ministry, using music to bring people closer to God, to spirit. And so my focus has always been on sacred sound, sacred music. And so with shifting and, you know, my things shifted.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily expect to be here. That I just found the spirit was guiding me in this direction. And so it's still kind of puzzling, like, how am I here? But I am here. And so it's fascinating when I take a look at, this technology, because I have an attraction to technology, but also to this sense of energy, frequency, and vibration. And what I find now is that, I find an amazing alignment to what we have right now. It just resonates really well for me.
You
Um,
know, what I think is really special about the both of you is you're not just people that are, running a wellness center or business of some sort. You're very intentional with what you do. And you also have the expertise in the physical world of what to do to be able to see how things work. And that's not so common because usually you have the people that are extremely spiritual and don't understand the physical aspect of things and how to do it, or the opposite, where you have people that are extremely physical and give no care whatsoever to the spiritual and energy world of things. And you guys are a special combination because you really do have both on both sides. It's not like one of you are one and the other one is another. Both of you are both, which is really awesome. And I think that's why you guys are seeing the results that you're seeing at your centers. So With that, I think we could dive into it. I know you guys had a really exciting sort of introduction to the pyramid, and even before we started recording, you were kind of emphasizing what a big role it plays into how it's in the center of the room and really takes a big part in the configuration. So why don't we dive into the configuration as a whole and what you guys are seeing, coupled with the pyramid itself and what role that plays into your equation and formula. And from there, I'd love to dive into the biowell aspect of things with the studies that you guys are doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe just a little bit of background or context. Pyramids are one of those things that have fascinated us, particularly with the pyramids in Egypt. And when we start seeing different people that we're connected with, including you and Robert Edward Grant and Dr. Konstantin Korotkov, the inventor of the biowell, the pyramids kept coming back into our consciousness.
Yeah.
And we felt like having a pyramid, there's something about the pyramid. And as we started learning more about that, we weren't sure what kind of pyramid. And we started learning more about Dr. Cream's work with biogeometry and the role of, shape as it relates to the effect on the human biofield, the human experience. And with that, we started exploring different pyramids, and we came into contact with a phi-based pyramid,
Mm.
one that's based off of the golden ratio. So here, the angle, the slope of the pyramid, we have a 76.345 angle. We learned about Charlie Zeiss's work with pyramids, and even how our Therify, our cold fusion plasma medbed, also makes use of a 76.345 angle in the bulbs. And so it's like, all right, every golden ratio is just one of those things that kept coming up. And so, with our experience with the pyramid, it's interesting in that some people can gravitate to it as a form of meditation. There's so many different ways in which pyramids, people relate to pyramids. And we felt like pyramid is beautiful in the center. We had one that was a meditation pyramid where people could sit in it. But when we saw the TLS pyramid, it was like, oh,
I said to
we
Jay,
gotta
I
have
want that.
that. Yeah, it's like
That belongs in the
Yeah,
here.
middle of.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
yeah.
you and many other people around the world. I don't know if you guys know this, but the geometry and the dimensions of it are to scale, but a smaller scale, the same dimensions of the Pyramid of Giza. It's the same exact thing from beginning to end.
Yeah. And that's beautiful too. So we love the Giza pyramid too. Well, what's fascinating about the pyramid, particularly, with our setup, we decided to have where all the screens are synchronized. All four sides are showing the same. And that felt right, for us. I mean, maybe people have other opinions around that, but for us, having all four screens matched on the pyramid was a core part of including the pyramid for us. And
Just so you guys are aware, because the synchronized screens actually showed better impacts, light system, all pyramids moving forward are all synchronized on four sides. It's
Mm.
just better. It has a better outcome. It has a better impact on the individual.
we would endorse that.
Yep.
And even though we have, yes, we could totally see that. And our experience of the pyramid so far, with the members having experienced it, um, a number of them would describe it as peaceful and potent.
Hmm.
And they've been using it as like a meditative piece where they see the scroll, the bidirectional scroll, and it's like looking out into the ocean. Like at some point you kind of get entrained with the movement of the waves rolling in and rolling out. So that bidirectional movement is like the waves rolling in and rolling out. And if you could put water and the waves into light form, it seems very representative of water in motion, but in the light frequency. And so people's, just their experience of it, their eye gaze relaxes. And when the eyes are relaxed and the eyes are connected to the nervous system, it automatically helps people move into a coherent state with balancing the sympathetic and parasympathetic aspect of the nervous
We've
system.
had numerous people share that it felt like that they were watching the ocean.
Mm.
I think it's amazing because you guys haven't even seen this yet, and the whole world will soon. But when I interviewed Robert Religa, the inventor behind the technology of the pyramid and the bigger units and whatnot, I asked him, what was your like Why did you create this? Was it for clinical purposes? Was it for spiritual purposes? And he's like, no, no, it was only intended for spiritual purposes and meditation. Because when he was younger, he had this fascination with people like Ram Dass and transcendental meditation and so on and so forth. And what he didn't like about it was to get all the people in the world to go and do transcendental meditation or meditation in general takes a lot of effort. So he wanted to take the principles, the guiding principles of meditation and instill it into technology to basically facilitate the process of meditation without you having to do all the manual and physical work to get to that point. So when he created what you guys have right now in your center, he created it with the intention of helping people drop deeper into meditations that ultimately does have the impact of physical self-balancing and whatnot. But that wasn't his intention. His intention was a to facilitate the meditation practice. And the outcomes of that were tenfold on what we're seeing.
We could feel that.
Yeah. And we can see that in the
Yeah.
BioWell results too.
Mhm.
So before BioWell, tell me
Yes.
about the configuration. You use the Architect. I know a lot of center runners, by the way, are now starting to use the Architect by Robert Edward Grant. It's incredible. I remember when it first came out, Robert called me and he's like, I just did something. I'm like, what'd you do? And this was a few months ago. And he's like, I found the square root of the imaginary number -1 or something like that. And that is the entry point to a different dimensional awareness that this taps into. And my mind was just blown. I'm like, I need you to pause and I need you to explain it. But I see how many people are now being positively impacted by using that AI essentially in a very positive way. So how did you use it and what did it kind of give you for the configuration of your center?
Yeah, so we started with the pyramid in the center, and we were looking at different possible configurations, such as like two opposing walls. It was certainly a design consideration, and with consulting the architect, it started talking about orthogonality, where things are based off of 90 degrees or perpendicular. And so even something where there are two opposing screens is 180 degrees, that's related to a 90 degrees, even a rectangle, even if it's non-square, because even if you have sides that have different lengths, if it still has 90 degrees in the corners, it's still somewhat orthogonal in nature. But when you crisscross the diagonals of the rectangle, if it's perfect square, you get still 90 degrees. But if it's not a perfect square and you have a rectangle, you already begin to shift into this area where you have something non-orthogonal. And so with a square-based pyramid, we kind of wondered, all right, what would, optimize the coherent energy field that we're creating with having opposing screens
In a rectangle, in
in
a
a
rectangle
rectangular.
room.
Yes,
Oh, so you guys are in a rectangle, not square.
That's right.
correct. That's right.
Okay.
Yes. And so it pointed towards to continue with the four corner setup. And so we decided that we want to continue with the four corner setup. We started asking questions about what if we have two towers in each corner? And
And putting
mhm,
two towers on the flats of the walls instead of the corners of the walls.
mhm.
And
Even the direction of the pyramid of the face. Normally, people who work with pyramids will typically put the face of the pyramid towards north, whether it's magnetic or cardinal. But in this case, with creating the coherent field with these other screens that are in the corners, then it comes to like, do you position the pyramid where the face of the pyramid's towards the edges of the rectangle or towards the corners of the rectangle? And so we started learning that with this pyramid that's emitting light from the center, it's actually also doing something within the field. It referred to it as like a phi torsion. And
Okay.
so it introduces a different movement within the energy field. And so we consulted the architect on the position of the pyramid too and the effects. So in other words, if you're looking for one effect, position this way. If you're looking for a different effect in the field, turn the pyramid. But it's possible that you could position the pyramid in such a way that it could create decoherence. So it's important to align the pyramid too. So
It's interesting because you guys are stacking, like most people that have a pyramid are just, they have a pyramid.
yeah.
And most people that have the bigger systems just have a bigger system. But you guys are stacking two things on top of each other that changes certain things in the equation. And by the way, one of the things that I think are extremely important in this space when it comes to light system, when it comes to what you guys are doing, is the ability for each individual like yourselves to advance certain things and create certain things and customize certain things in their own way. And that's because every space is different and there is no such thing as one size fits all. And now you guys are taking these four corners with a pyramid that has four sides and positioning it in a way that most people don't have those two things stacked on top of each other. So I just think it's so important to keep the gate of creativity open for everybody that's going to be dealing with this, because depending on even the shape of your room, all the way to how energy moves in that room, everything changes and it's not one size fits all. So I appreciate that you guys are doing that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think this is a field that is just emerging, and if people remain open to what they can create and not just stick to, oh, this is the traditional way to set up, I think it's possible to further advance
For sure.
what experience a coherent energy field technology like this.
I love
Uh,
that.
so yeah, position of the pyramid's important. One thing that we're not able to do as easily is to adjust the height of the pyramid. So if a person were to have some sort of table for it where they can adjust the height, height was a consideration for us when we were looking at something to put the pyramid on. We felt like on the floor it was too low. And then, there was a certain level at height, and also given that we're using zero G chairs. So we found a table that we felt like would be the right height. Depending on how high you position the pyramid could also have different effects
Very
from an entertainment perspective. So if the pyramid were closer to the ceiling versus middle versus towards the floor, again, there's a way you can use height adjustment as a way of affecting the field too.
Are these things that you guys can document to be able to share to further the process of other individuals learning what they're learning, to not have to recreate the wheel?
We consulted the architect. Yeah, we could download and share what we found through the architect. I think it's fascinating. So even though we weren't in direct contact with Robert Edward Grant, we felt like we were picking his brain,
Mm.
Yeah.
using his Codex Universalis and everything with geometry. And it's actually inspired even one of the workshops that we did on consciousness, particularly with the concept of collapsing the triangle within. It was
Amazing.
quite an amazing experience of having a perspective of geometry in everyday life on how, for example, you might have a feeling, which is a perception, and a projection or outward expression, uh, which is an echo of that feeling, and how belief locks in that right triangle. And so we had a workshop that spoke to that. But yeah, the architect has really been influential for
Mm.
us with a number of different areas, not just the design and
Sure.
configuration, but even inspiring a workshop on raising consciousness and
Mhm.
increasing awareness. Um, yeah.
It's awesome stuff. So I know you guys do a lot of testing with BioWell. And I mean, we haven't spoken too deeply to be able to share those results, but this is a perfect place to be able to do it in terms of the overarching principles of what you guys are seeing and themes of what you guys are seeing across the board. So we could start wherever you guys think is best on that front, but I'd love to dive into that to see what you guys are finding.
Yeah, I'd love to just share first, like
Hmm.
you mentioned it before, but we were trained by the inventor Dr. Khodorkovsky about 3 years ago. We've done about we've done over 1,200 before and after scans at the center, measuring people, and now for the past week in this technology, and we're seeing a difference.
It's spectacular.
Yes, and so it's
Mhm.
been really we're excited to share those
Mhm.
differences um, with you in a moment, but um,
Yeah.
anything more you want to say on that?
I think one thing that's nice about the BioWell,
We started with the BioWell before we
yes.
had a center. So we were using the BioWell for like doing
Hmm.
before and after type
Hmm.
things before we actually had the a center to work at with
Hmm.
it. So it's kind of interesting that we had that background knowledge before having a center. The plan
Hmm.
was actually have a center and then have the BioWell,
Yeah.
but God took us on a different path.
Hmm.
I think it's also fascinating and really awesome that you guys have a lot of scans from the past to compare what you're doing now to. Because most people, if they don't have that, they're just doing it now. And then what, right? What are we comparing this to that? but you guys have not 10 or 20 or even 100, over 1,000
Yeah.
scans to be able, that's a huge sample size. That gives a
Yeah.
lot of credibility one way or another. So what is it that you guys found, and what is it that you guys were even testing for? I'd love
Yeah.
to learn.
Just one more little context.
Yeah.
I do find like the BioWell as a tool, it pairs very well. When we're taking a look at the person or the human person being like a light, you know, there's this, even like Robert Edward Grant will talk about this, a homo sanctus luminous, like human of sacred light. Some people will see Merkaba, like a spirit light body, this idea of light being an essential part of our being. And the
Mhm.
way the biowell measures that light energy, I think pairs really well because we're able to see the human biofield. We're able to see stress levels. We're able to see chakra alignment, so it has Ayurvedic principles incorporated. We're able to look at energy within organ and organ systems. So, when for those who come from more of a Western background with conventional, traditional, you're able to see things in a variety of ways that paints a picture. And so to me, it's like way more valuable as a practitioner in this field to use the BioWell versus some of the other tools. It provides a wealth of information. Now, here we don't use it to diagnose, treat, or cure. It is provides a wealth of information. In some other places, the BioWell might be considered a medical device, but here it is an express assessment of the human biofield. So we're able to very quickly, real time capture the energy, which we measure in joules. We're not measuring here in millivolts. And so, yeah, we're glad to share some scans.
Yeah.
We could share it if you could give us share permission.
Absolutely. You can share your screen anytime you'd like. Go for it.
So here's an example of someone that was here just a couple days ago.
Hmm.
You'll see the energy is 52, and this is the human biofield. It's not to be confused with an aura. The aura is the energy that extends beyond the physical body, but here we're looking at the energy inside the body. And if you see as we mouse down, the areas from the urogenitals and up correspond to those body parts, but the energy field that's displayed on the lower parts below the urogenitals actually correspond to coronary, cardiovascular, nervous, and immune system. So if you see me mouse down, you'll see below, the text below showing what part of the finger scan was included. This one shows nervous system, this one's immune system, and as I mentioned before, cardiovascular, nervous, immune. So you could see where the energy field, we want a consistent, coherent energy field where you're not having areas where they kind of stick out and areas where they're smaller or areas where there's like some distortion.
So 52 joules average, that's the
Hmm.
average of all the organs.
Hmm.
Optimal is between 40 and 60.
Hmm.
So he's on an average, right?
Hmm.
He's doing well, but as you can see in the field, the average, he's got low areas, he's got high areas.
Hmm.
You can see that in the field.
Hmm.
So to Jay's point, we really want that field to be more consistent and balanced. He's got some incoherence here for
Yes.
sure.
So in the after scan, after spending a couple hours, it went down to 51, 1 joule less. So it's not when a person experiencing a technology like this, it's not all always about the joules going up.
But the
Uh,
consistency here is extremely
Yes,
valuable.
you see the remarkable difference here with the consistency. So just toggling between the before and the after, you could visually see the difference here. So as if you're looking at this from an artistic perspective, it's kind of hard to sometimes capture in numbers like that you want from this to this. So 52 to 51, like yeah, the joules went down by one, but the field itself is
Way more
way more
coherent.
coherent. And it's easier to see this sometimes by going to the organ energy balance tab. So here, this green zone, when we're looking at the organ system level, you'll see the different organs listed on the bottom. In this case, it's a male. So there's 32 listed where 32 is the prostate. But we want the bars to be
Mostly in the
between in
green.
the green area. The green bar is the sympathetic, the blue bar, the parasympathetic aspect of each of these organ systems. So you
Mhm.
could see areas where it's below the optimal, and you could see areas where it's above. And if you look at the after scan, you could see an improvement here.
Big
And so
time.
for some people, it's easier to see this kind of improvement by taking a look at the organ energy balance tab of the BioWell.
So the majority of it is in that green zone.
Right.
Yes, yes. One thing that's like also fascinating is with this technology and
Go back to the
oh,
energy field tab
oh yeah,
before
it's
selecting.
okay. So another thing that's quite interesting with working with coherent energy fields is mixing other modalities. So for example, we have a cloud mat that uses PEMA. And with this person here, they were here for 1 hour, half an hour on the cloud mat in the room, in the quantum light room, and the other half an hour off the cloud mat. And so this person, GGG, came in at 45, and afterwards it bumped up to 49. But you could see in the energy field, there's a difference here.
Big time.
All right. And then if we were to go to the chakras, for
This is
example,
awesome.
86 to
Well,
95, you could visually see the big difference here.
So it's not just alignment. Notice too, the size of the chakras
Yes.
are more equal
much
as
more energy.
Yeah.
yeah, they're more balanced. When we
So,
look at the size
mhm.
of the chakras, we're looking at the balance.
Yeah, so we do care about alignment from left to
Mhm,
right, but also that the size of the circles are similar. We want
mhm.
even energy running through the spine. And so you could see here,
The third eye.
the different energy centers. You could see the size of this, the third eye versus the size of some of these other ones.
Yeah.
So we have 5.7, 5.7. This one's at 3.6. So there's a range here of 3.6 to 5.7. That range of 3.6 to 5.7 is is a little over 2 joules. It's nice when that range uh,
Shrinks.
shrinks down in a session, and you could see the size of the circles. The crown and the third eye are more similarly sized to the others, and the ones that were bigger became smaller.
So
So when
that
you
will
have,
actually be expressed as also a more coherent energy field because
yeah,
you're going to have one thing shooting
correct.
somewhere.
That's right. So we're not looking at just left-right alignment. We're looking at balance across the different chakras, the
Amazing.
different energy centers, and even more spectacular. You can look at the organ system level. You could see where there are areas that are below the green optimal area and some areas that are a little bit above or hyperactive energy. And look what happened afterwards.
Wow.
So, I mean, this was on the 13th. This was like, this is just like, wow.
Mhm.
So when we're seeing things like this, it just makes us feel like, all right, we made a great choice here
Yeah.
with what we have and how we're combining things and what people can experience in a short time, as little as 1 hour. So
It's
yes, but this person did also cloud on top of it. So
Right.
it was a mixed experience. So, but
well,
it's nice.
that's amazing because again, it's not about, and I want to make this clear, it's not about having one thing that you're going to use and only one thing that you're going to use. We have an incredible amount of technologies and resources out there. Light system is great, but light system with cloud can be greater,
Yes, that's
right?
right.
System with
Absolutely.
another technology can be even better. So it's all about enhancing the space that you're in. And I mean, but even if you were to intentionally meditate in the light system, that is a form of technology that you would stack on top of the technology as well.
Mhm.
So the more the merrier, so long as we're in coherence and balance, that's the name of the game.
Hmm.
Yeah. And this particular person, when she came out of the room, she was like, whoa. Like
Hmm.
she described, like she said, I felt like someone has worked on me.
Yeah.
Her words. Right? She was able to physically feel it in her body. She was able to physically feel this coherence. When she came in the room, she kind of had this energy. It's a little bit squirrely, over here, over here, over here kind of thing. And when she came out, she was completely like relaxed and balanced, and that squirrely kind of over here wasn't present at all.
Hmm.
So it was kind of an interesting testimony when she came out.
Hmm.
And then she said that before we did the scan. She was sharing this before we did the scan, and then we did the scan, and it was just like, wow.
Incredible. It's absolutely incredible, and it's gratifying to see that this is what we're doing. Like this
Yeah.
is what we're bringing to people around the world. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to see. So overarching themes. I mean, you showed us, about two different things between two different people and what you saw, one with stacking and one with just the technology. What would you say overall you're seeing when it comes to actual ailments, not calling it a cure or a fix in any way, but helping the body actually rebalance itself? What are some of the more intense situations, if any? I know you just started this recently, but any intense situations, anywhere from back pain to, real intense ailments, have you seen people maybe not go into full remission on, but get better on in X period of time?
Yeah, we've seen a number of different things with working with coherent energy field technologies, particularly with a field like this in combination with our Therify, with our cold fusion plasma medbed, particularly for those who have like tumors and cysts and things
Yep.
like that. Incredible results. It's ranged for us between like 4 months and 14.
14 months.
But it does require a level of commitment
Consistency
and
is key.
consistency.
Consistency.
Right. If they're not
Hmm.
consistent, they're going to get inconsistent results.
Yep.
The example I always give, let's say, today is we're in August. And let's say you sign up for a gym in August 2025 and you go every day for the next 3 weeks. And then come September and, you kind of fall off a little bit. And then October comes around and you go for a week straight and then you stop. And then November comes around and you just stop altogether. And then December, you go again for a little bit. And at the end of the year, you say, hey, I don't think the gym's working. Well, no, it's not the gym isn't working. It's that you're not using the gym properly for it to work on you. And that comes to the point that you guys are making of consistency. You must be consistent if you want to have consistent results. And if you're not consistent, you can't always expect consistent results. And even if you have a miracle that happens overnight, that miracle is not going to stay put in the way that you hope it will if you're just going to go back to your ways the next day. And
Yes.
I think consistency is massive over here when it comes to your center, centers around the world. And anybody that's in the field of rebalancing their energy field using non-invasive technologies in this way, it's about consistency. And without that, I always tell people, I mean, don't waste your time and don't waste your money because
Absolutely.
the best thing you can do is be consistent, and the worst thing you can do is not.
Yeah, I share with our members, they have to realize like we're working in the energy realm, and energy is premised on the basis of momentum, right? This is why consistency plays such a role. You can get into a positive state of momentum if you're not consistently applying the body with what it needs.
Yep.
So to change the direction of something, if they don't want things to keep going in that current direction, you need a certain amount of momentum to change and shift that
It's
direction.
physics. It's how
Yeah,
energy
yeah,
works.
yes.
Mm,
The other aspect is this quantum physics with consciousness. It's not just consistency. We believe that our consciousness plays a far greater role than most people realize. And so our consciousness, when it intermingles in this field, uh, if a person is showing up where they're not ready for it and they're consciously like blocking it, their
Mm,
experience will be far different than someone who comes with a consciousness that's open and receptive to receiving.
100%.
So we actually pay very close attention to the language
mm,
of our members. In fact, we have different diagrams as a reminder for us as we hear them talk, we could
mhm.
share with them their state of consciousness. Because a person who comes in saying, I can't, automatically is in a lower state of vibration of almost victimhood, where they say they don't have any ability, to any role. They tend to be more blame other people, other things, or situations for where they are, and they're not necessarily taking ownership of their experience and being open to the possibility. And so when we look at state of consciousness and raising that from, I hope to I pray to I believe I know to like I am. I mean, it's much more powerful when a person or an individual is in a state of saying, I am healthy even though it may not feel true right now, what are they looking to bring to the present? And so when you have these different thought patterns that are in conflict with each other, even if it's something as simple as like a person wanting abundance, but yet they feel like they're not good enough
Mm.
or not worthy, those thought patterns, those waves actually conflict with each other. They're not in coherence.
And it creates a resistance.
Yes, and
You know,
therefore,
I wrote a book on this called The Language of Energy, and a piece
yes.
of what I wrote in that, you have it.
You
A,
do.
a piece of what I wrote in that book, to your point of what you guys are saying, is I love it. I love it. So in the
More than that,
language
we
of
have this
energy,
that one. We have this one,
I
and we
love it.
have this.
So
The
there are
wonderful books,
two.
Jason.
two laws that I share over there that are important, where when somebody says I am healthy, but they may not be experiencing that, some people may say, well, no, you're not, and you're in denial. So you're only in denial if you don't understand the following. And there are two laws that I speak about in that book. The first one is called the law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. And the second one is called the law of vibration. You experience what you're in resonance with. So the first one, energy cannot be created or destroyed, means that there is an infinite number of realities present at this present moment, because the reality of you healthy and the reality of you sick, the reality of you happy, the reality of you sad is all just a different energy. And if energy can't be created or destroyed, all of those energies, aka realities, exist right here, right now. Now, when you couple that with the law of vibration, you experience what you're in resonance with. Now you just have this infinite multitude of different realities that you, through the law of vibration, can choose to tune to one over another. So if you're not aware of that and you say, I am healthy when you're sick, that's called denial. But if you are aware of that and you say, I am healthy, that's called consciously choosing one reality in this present moment over another. And when you do that consciously, you literally shift your vibration and your present state and your present reality of one of sickness to one of health. And in that way, it's not denial. So I like that you brought that up because it's a really, really important point.
Yeah, so I believe one of the best things that we do with running and operating a center is helping to engage our members in a way that raises their consciousness. And so
Mhm.
wherever they find themselves, and it can vary from visit to visit.
Mhm.
Some days they may come in feeling at one level, and then something else happens, and they're in a different state of consciousness. And so our role is to help.
Dynamic.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so one of the best things we can do is in being relationship with our members is to raise their consciousness so that way they have the best possible experience.
Mhm.
I love it. So you guys, your website is quantumlightwellness.com. That link is in the description below for anybody that wants to go and visit the biggest current light system center with 52 panels in the world. Wherever you are, fly out to go and experience it. This is the website. Quantumlightwellness.com is where you can learn more about it. It shows you the beautiful and incredible room that they put together here. And you can read all about this incredible center because they don't just offer light system. They
Mhm.
offer a lot of incredible things that they stack on top of one another. And the Therify is something I've used in the past. It's incredible. The cloud is something I've used in the past. It's incredible. So make sure to check this out. Go to quantumlightwellness.com if you want to learn more. And you can also go to the link in the description below if you just want to click that link, and it will take you right to Dom and Jay's website to be able to check it out, set an appointment, reach out, and have a conversation with them because that's what these individuals are all about. And that's the best way to go about it. It's not just come, sit in a chair, and move on. It's who are you? What's your background? What was your childhood like? What was your father like? What was your mother like? Who hurt you? Who abused you? Who screwed you over in a business deal? Who did all of these things that cause certain things in your life that aren't bad things, but things that are here to teach you? And now you have these individuals, the director of this center specifically, to help you move through that. Because one of the most important things, and I'll finish on this before giving you guys the last word here. One of the most important things when it comes to healing is not on the physical level. It's not on the physical dimension. If you do everything, you could spend $1 billion on health and wellness. If you are still dealing with the trauma of the abusive father or the abuse of this or whatever trauma existed or exists in your life, no level of technology will help you until you overcome that. Now, technology can help you overcome that, but there is a piece that you need to take responsibility for on your own, to take action on your own, to overcome those emotional inconsistencies and distortions to be able to get to the point of true quality of life and true health and wellness. And that's why I appreciate you guys because I know you focus on that. And it's one of the most important things. So, with that, I'm going to leave you guys with the last word. Any closing messages you have for everybody that's watching?
I think I'd like to clarify one thing. For example, with talking about the stories that people have, we're not asking what their story is. We actually don't need to know their story.
Mm-mm.
It usually comes up in the BioWell scan when we share what we're seeing, and then sometimes people open up, and it's perfectly okay for people to share more. But do we need to know the story? No.
No.
And in fact, we also make use of a modality called cognomovement that works with the substrate of the nervous system, where the eyes are not just the windows to the soul, but a map to the brain. And when we work with the psychogeography of the eyes, we're able to connect the neural pathways in the brain with using cross-body lateral movement, somatics, and a bunch of other techniques incorporated with the movement of the eyes. And so for those who are, looking to go deeper and, work on things that their nervous system is saying it's actually ready to work on,
Mhm.
cognitive movement is a wonderful way to help our members. In fact, it was the first event that we hosted literally just yesterday
Yesterday.
at the center. It was a Cogno Movement event. So we had members here experiencing Cogno Movement in this space, which brings it to a whole nother level. So I think I just want to clarify that aspect. So we're very much about our members and utilizing this space in unique ways that will further advance the use of coherent energy fields like this.
Amazing. Dom, any closing messages?
Um, yeah, too. First, I just want to share for people that come to the center, we're offering complimentary energy scans with their sessions. So, we want people to be able to have these scans done so that they really can see on the screen, like how is this energy influencing their body,
Mm.
physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that it's being all worked on in the system, but the scan is picking all that up too, and we can see that. Um, I've always said energy doesn't lie, but I've kind of flipped it upside down and I say now energy tells the truth, right? And we can see that in the energy scan. And so it's really kind of fascinating. And we have so many members come and they have like a data point here and a data point here, but they never put them together. And with their experience here and then having the scans done, I can't tell you how many times it's like certain things kind of clicked together and this light bulb went off. Like they realized things that they didn't realize before. So that's the first thing. And I guess the second thing is um, something that I had to learn a number of years ago when I came out of working in enslavement from corporate America into just doing this kind of work. Um, I had to be trained to follow my heart.
Mm.
What is right, what is best, and what is true for me, instead of being stuck in some belief that was instilled in me and just trusting the ability to trust what your heart is telling you. The divine downloads that come through the whispers of the heart.
Mm.
So often, and I know this was true for me, I'd never heard the whispers. I didn't get those divine downloads because I was so much in my head. What about this? What about that? How about this? How about that? And I would spin out overthinking. I would worry. I'd become overwhelmed, and the answer would never show up here. And so I really had to learn, really, it was a breathing technique that I had to learn to slow my nervous system down, to get out of my head and just to like listen to those whispers that are trying to communicate with me. And I feel like wherever you are at in your journey, whether it's a healing journey or it's a journey of relationship or career, and you're spinning out in that way, it's so important to try and reconnect to your truth with a capital T, that is here. That's where your guidance is. There's nothing that anybody else can tell you. There's no technology that can help you. There's nothing out there that can guide you the way that is right and best for you until you connect here. And that is just really important. And I feel like I share that with all of our members. And I'm constantly reminding them, come back home, come back home, come back
Mhm.
home. Get out of this, get out of the spin, come
Mm.
back home. And so I want to share that because it's been invaluable for me. I know it's been invaluable for our members. And I wanted to share that
And we
for what
want
it's
to
worth.
we want to thank you,
And
Jason,
thank you, Jason.
I want to
for
thank you guys. You guys are doing incredible work and thank you for, I mean, you're doing great stuff that is beyond the technology. You're helping people in ways that they would have never known about if it wasn't for you guys. And You guys come from different worlds completely, and look what you created. So I want to say thank you very much to the both of you for leading with your hearts and leading with what you feel is best and highest for you guys and for your members, and allowing your members to do the same thing. And I always do my best to align with exactly what you just said. So thank you guys very much for the work that you're doing. And for everybody that's watching, again, there are links in the description below. Make sure to go to quantumlightwellness.com to learn more. Reach out to Jay and Dom, see what they have to offer you, and definitely take advantage of that complimentary energy scan, because those are like the most fun things in the world. You get to see a before and after and really track things in a very tangible way. So Dom, Jay, thank you guys very much for the work that you're doing, and I hope to see you guys in the near future.
Same here.
We do too, Jason. See you soon.
Thank you.